everybody, Doug Walker here. No Rob this time. He did see it, and he usually posts on his Facebook what he thinks about it. This is just one of those weeks where time is really tight. Obviously got the Bum Review, and then Nostalgia Critic, the Disney Decembers are starting up. Pop Quiz Hotshot is going to be running through December as well. So it's one of those times where time is money. So yeah, this is just my really fast review of it. But if you want to know what he thinks, go to his Facebook. He always writes up something. So this is just my brief thoughts on it. Okay, so this is the last of the Hunger Games movies. This is Mockingjay Part 2, and in my opinion, these movies just get better and better. I think they sort of started off as this, like everyone said, that this ripoff of stuff that already kind of existed, but it kind of comes into its own. It kind of creates its own sort of idea and its own philosophy and theories and stuff, and I think it turns out really, really good. This is, once again, continuing the story from the last one of Katniss and this giant army, rebellion trying to take down Snow, and it's going through the city trying to get to the end, which is filled with booby traps, so once again, it's kind of Hunger Games-esque, because they're, like, going through this obstacle course again, but what is so great about these movies, as they keep going on especially, is that they keep taking these ideas that you have seen a million times and you think you're going to be tired of, but they give it a new spin, and they put in so many good people behind it. The direction is really, really good. It's slow paced, but in the best way, in that when something happens, you feel the energy from it, and what they say carries a lot of weight. Everything feels earned when we get to these really tough moments. And really the big thing for me is the acting in these movies are so good. In the first one, you kind of had more the upper class with the goofy costumes, and they were all going over the top and stuff, which kind of makes sense because it's the media, and if our media has taught us anything, is that we're just getting more and more over the top, and I should know. So it's something where when you get to the grittiness, though, of these tough people going in, it doesn't feel fake. It doesn't feel like the dialogue being said has been written by a writer and these young people are trying to act really tough. Because, I don't know, I feel like I've been seeing that in a lot of movies. Sort of like this fake tough, where in the old days, and when I say old days, I mean kind of like 80s and stuff. But even then, I mean, people like, like Russell Crowe or Kevin Costner, those kind of people. I always pick on those two. Those are just the two coming to my mind, where they do this, I'm tough. I'm just going to act like I have no emotion, and that's tough. But everybody here, they're not too emotional, but they're not a blank slate either. They find that perfect balance, and everybody is believable. You just trust that everybody, what they're saying, they're really saying it because that's what's going on in the moment, and that is what they would say. But they're also smart, and they're intelligent, and it just feels very, very legit. So this is not going to be, I'm not going to have any spoilers in this at all. If you want the spoiler version, go to Bum Reviews. But I do have to talk about the last third of this without giving anything away. But it's important to bring up because all the advertising and even kind of the movies in general, as they keep going on, they're building up to this giant big battle, this Return of the King style battle where the heroes are gonna go in and the bad guys are gonna put up a good fight, but they're gonna knock them down and they're gonna say the cool one-liners and, the revenge and the victory is all gonna be there. That is not how this movie ends. And again, I'm not gonna give it away, but it's an ending where, as it was going, I didn't know how I was feeling about it. I'm like, let me just see how it plays out. And when it was all done, it felt very right. It felt like this was the right direction this story should have gone. Because it is building up to one thing, and then you kind of realize it's about something else. And they do it in such a clever way where you don't even realize it's happening. And I think for a character, or even characters that are constantly being had, are constantly being tricked, you still kind of buy it. At one point I was saying, oh my god, really? Is Katniss, was she, duped again and stuff? But there's this legit, you're with her because you see everything going on around her, And it's one of those things where when it happens, not only does it happen, but you see her kind of account for it, and you see her try to make up for it. And you, again, without her saying too much, you see kind of the wheels turning and her putting everything together. And it's a perfect mix of how much do you say and how much do you not say, in my opinion. And it goes in a direction that I didn't see coming. I'm gonna take a wild guess and say it's in the books, because I can't see a movie studio saying, yes, this is how this should end. So it's one of those things where I like the direction it goes, even if some of it doesn't make that much sense. If you kind of want to know, you can go watch the bum review. But there are some things about it that don't quite add up. And another thing that doesn't quite add up, again, I talk about in the bum review, is as you can see in the trailers and everything, PETA is brought back and he's slowly sort of trying to get his sanity back. For as tough as they make this world and they make kind of these rules, this very kind of emotionally logical sort of setup that they have, where even Katniss knows, okay, with him here, I'm going to be compromised. I need to stay away from him and stuff like that. There's a lot of times where they should have treated this guy differently. They probably should have killed him. Just the way they talk and the way you see all these people go and stuff like that. It's like, dude, this guy would be gone in a second. Like, they would get rid of him. I don't want to see him die or anything, but it's just in this world they create where this stuff happens, he'd be gone. He'd be totally gone. So that's one of my issues with it. But it's minor. I think the only other part where the only thing that threw me off a little bit again is that you think this ending is coming, it's all building up to it, and when it's not, you're kind of thrown off and you're almost like, so we're still going with this? Are we gonna have another big climax? Are we gonna have another big fight? Like, what's gonna happen? You don't quite know. It feels a little longer than it needs to be at that moment, but when it all plays out, I thought it felt right. I thought it felt like this is how this story should end, because everything in this story, I think probably from 2 on, you could even argue the first one, but really from 2 on, no, even in the first one, it's all about the manipulation. It's about the manipulation, of the game, of media, of politics, of war, and it's all about what's really going on, which, that's one of the reasons I love these movies so much, is that you can watch it and especially, again, I brought this up in the bum review, there's this thing where it's like, with everything going on politically right now, with France and everything, there's talk about refugees and what they do with the refugees and stuff like that. And very obviously, this is not commenting on anything that's happened recently. I mean, very clearly. And I don't know if anyone would watch it and think like, ooh, that's really... So that's what they're saying we should do with, refugees. That's not at all what they're saying. It's very clear. But I think even before it got to that moment, I was realizing that all this stuff about rebellion and fighting back and the true enemy and stuff like that, if there's anything these movies have taught us, in my opinion, I think it's so good to get to younger people, this message, is you don't know. And I can almost be 100% certain you will never know. That's the one thing that I know, is that I don't know. Everything from media to politics, all of it. There's a million things going on. There's billions and billions of people in the world. Every single one of them has their own motivation and their own cause, and there's millions of causes, and we're just never gonna know exactly what's going on, what the answer is, what the best thing to do is, what good is, what evil, any of this stuff. So many people you think are good can be awful. So many people you thought are awful can do good things, and vice versa, all these things. And I think this is a very clear sign that you just gotta do the best you can, and you're never gonna have all the answers. And all these people that tell you, I have the answers, I know, they don't. They are guessing, and they might be closer to the real answer than the rest of us that are guessing. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a political person. I never pretend to be, or any of that stuff, or even with films. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, or with directors or producers, and any of that stuff. So I try never to make them personal attacks. With all these people, there's millions of things going on. And I think this very much shows that there are so many things going on nobody can fully understand, nobody can fully see it. And so you do your best, and you just have to kind of go along with it and make the best decisions that you can, and you're going to make mistakes, but you're going to make right choices too, and you just got to go with your gut, and it's not always going to be right, but it's the best you can do. And anyone that says they know it all, that they have the answers, they don't. They do not know. And don't believe it if they say they know. You know, you can say that, they can say I have a very probable outcome that this could happen, you know, but that doesn't sell posters, that doesn't win campaigns, so they use this manipulation. And we fall for it because we want to believe that they have all the answers because we don't have the answers, but they don't either. So that's what I got out of this film series. I think is so important. That's why I think it does so well. It earns this toughness. It earns this really dark, I mean, even more people die in this. I mean, we see younger people die, like little kids. Yeah, I know, hey, Hunger Games, kids die, but like little kids in this die. And it feels earned, though. It feels like this is all about the manipulation, and every time you think you have a grasp on it or you know what's right and wrong, there's always something else that's going to challenge you. And how much of your humanity do you hold on to and your ethics, and how much of that manipulation do you adapt to? Because you need to adapt. You know, I'm not in front of you right now. I recorded this earlier. This is all manipulation, but you're using it to get across a greater point. But how far can that go for things are good and things are bad? There's no clear answer. That's what I got out of these films, and especially this last one, seeing how it all ends and how it all ties together. So I really think it's good. I think this is a film series that got better and better and threw me for a shock at the end. You know, every single one of these that have come out, I got more and more invested. You know, when I saw the first one, I'm like, oh, that was good. It was a good movie. Second one, wow, that was surprisingly much better than I thought it was going to be. It's actually really good. Third one, wow, like this is getting really intense and really thought-provoking. This fourth one, I mean, with this ending that they have, I think it's pretty much the best way you can end it. And I think a lot of people are going to disagree. I think a lot of people are going to want to see that traditional big battle, like I kind of did going in, but I really have mad respect for the way that they went. I think it was a very, you know, kind of brave choice in that you don't give them what all the propaganda in these movies, the propaganda she's been filming and trying to tell everybody, we're building up. And I love that. I love that they can show your main character, who is this very triumphant hero and very complex and very interesting, but also very simple, you know, can also be led the wrong way, if even on the side that she knows is the best side to be on. So I really like it. I think this is a good segue for younger people to think, you know, maybe the world isn't out to get me, but maybe I shouldn't trust everything either. It really is not so black and white. And there's always going to be compromises, and it's not even as basic as good versus evil. There's just the best situation to the worst situation. So I really liked it. I came out of it saying this kind of stuff, and I think that's a good ending to a film series. That's just a good film series in general. So I really liked it. I thought it was very, very cleverly done. And the film series, like I said, has really... I can see why so many people got behind these books, because when this movie was coming out, like, nobody thought it was going to be anything, but all these people that read the books are like, no, this is going to be a big hit. Trust me. Like, this is going to be a really, really big thing. It has this huge following. And I can see why. Especially for young adults, I think this is a challenging, interesting, thought-provoking series. You know, disguised as just a, hey, defeat the bad guys, you know, action arrows and stuff like that. There's actually a lot more thought that goes into it that, in my opinion, really prepares them for adulthood and the kind of ethics that you should have going into adulthood. So I greatly enjoyed it. As an adult, I greatly enjoyed it. So that's about it, and I will talk to you guys later. Take care.